Hello, everyone. Welcome and to the demo session of UiPath Agentic Automation. So, in this course, we will be going on real-time use case driven. For every topic related to the agents or the prerequisites or the basics, everything, each and every topic we are going to cover with some real-time simulations or the use cases. For each and every concept, we are going to learn in the similar way. And I'm going to be a course instructor for this course. My name is Patrudu Chintakaila, and I'm a solution architect in the space of automation and AI. And I'm UiPath MVP for 3 times 24, 25, and 26. And also have done multiple professional certifications in UiPath. And also I'm a community speaker and mentoring the developers as well. So why Agentic? That's a good question because everyone is talking on the agentic, but why now? So if you are listening to the agentic word, we are listening this since last 1.5 year, and everyone is talking about the agentic AI, Gen AI, and AI agents and everything, but nothing was moved into the production, and now slowly it has started moving into the production. The agents are getting into an enterprise releases, and we can expect a bit more releases can happen in the next Q2 and Q3. So in the next 6 months, we can expect more and more agentic automations will go live, and the business or enterprise will start adopting the agentic. So, so when we are talking about the agentic, does the agentic really required? So let me put a problem statement here. So when we work on the RPA, it's a static or rule-based driven automations which we generally build. And let us take a scenario that like we built an automation on an external application, and which is frequently keep on changing because we will be not having any control on it. And in case if any failure occurs there, then we will be finding the root cause, which elements got changed, and we will fix, and then we will deploy. The time which it will take the entire cycle of the bug fix or the change management, the business continuity will break down. So now the business again need to spend on the time on this process in order to continue with their work. So at that time, they will be facing a lot of pain because they got habituated to the automation and they're happy with it. And now suddenly it has got broken down for 1 week, means it will not give a good sense to the business users. And so if in the same scenario, if we are considering the agents, so there is one out of the box agent uh, pre-built available in UiPath, which is a screenplay, which is pretty much similar to Anthropic's computer use or OpenAI operator. Even those will be utilized as part of the screenplay. We can select from the options, and this will work on the external applications, even if the UI is changing or any changes are occurring. Unless the process is completely got changed, the agent will work, and it can adapt to the new changes because it works based on the vision, and it will not work based on the selectors or the UI elements. So that's the advantage which we are going to get with the help of agents getting involved into our automations. And both the automation and the agents, AI agents, combines the agentic automation. So how the evaluation of the agentic automation came into the picture. So when I started in 2016 or 17, the RPA is not that much stable, and like we are just evolving. Though the automation was there in the industry since long time, the RPA actually turned its entire uh, perception or the market perception to an automation with the help of RPA, where it can interact with or better interact with the all type of applications like desktop applications, web applications. the APIs and the Citrix applications. So that actually became a game changer. And then after a couple of years, then the challenge came that like when the people started using or tasting the flavor of RPA, and the business users came up with a bit more complex use cases, like where it involves the document data extraction or some AI flavor needs to be added, then the RPA turned out to be an intelligent automation. And leveraging the AI as part of our automations, both combined, called as an intelligent automation. And in the from the 2024, then the agentic came into the picture. So there is a it's not like agentic came into the picture at that time. Generative AI came into the picture. So the generative AI, I think in 2023, the Chat GPT has released in the November, and that's where the LLM or the Chat GPT or the generative AI came into the picture, and then people started looking into that. And now we move towards the agentic. So there is a slight difference between the specialized AI and the generative AI. So both are the artificial intelligence models or machine learning models, we can say, whereas the specialized AI models are trained on specific data where it was supposed to work only on that specific type of or domain of the data and uses the artificial intelligence. Whereas the generative AI is trained with a large set of data, billions of data set, and then it was trained with all type of data, and reasoning capabilities are introduced. So that's the slight difference between these two, one of the difference I can say. And then the generative AI models are trained with a lot of data, and then it it helped us a lot in when we are working as well, right? Like previously we used to go to the Stack Overflow for any of the programming related questions, or in UiPath we used to go to the UiPath forum, but now everyone is like asking the Chat GPT. So even our way of work is also got changed. The Gen AI changed the entire landscape of the digital transformation, and now it came to the agentic automation. So alone the LLM or the Gen AI is going to be just a chat bot, similar to how we used to have the chat bots in the prior. But adding the calling of the APIs to the external applications, which we call it as a tool or function calling, that actually changed the entire narrative, and it became to the agentic, and then gradually it is evolved into the agentic automation. So where the RPAs got stuck or where it was like stagnated. So the RPA is very clear that like it can do whatever we asked it to do, and we have a predefined set of rules, and that to a strict rules, and there is no intelligence in it. And and you also like if it as it is performing all the noun steps and with the fixed conditions, it is 100% sure that like whatever it is working. So the RPA will be either it's a zero, it will not do anything, or it will do 100% correct. Whereas the agent is more capable, like where it has the intelligence in it, it will think what it is doing and what next step needs to be performed. Whereas in RPA, we need to write all the steps and it will perform in the sequential order. Whereas the agent, based on the data and based on the information it is having, it will take its own decisions and the next steps will be planned by itself. And that's the advantage the agent got, and then that's how we are moving towards the agent. I will not say the moving away, because again we need to use the RPA as part of our tools in the agents. So how the roadmap, right? The roadmap of the UiPath platform. So in 2016 to 19, more on the we worked on automations, like where we have the studio, robot, and orchestrator. Whereas like later they extended their capabilities to the document understanding for the document data extraction and the task mining, process mining, and test suite. So all these like it's a platform expansion and with a slight flavor of AI in place. And in 2022, like more AI integration is in place for UiPath, like where the communications mining is an NLP model and the Gen AI connectors, like which will call to the LLMs, like which is released late 2023. And also like there is AI computer vision. And post that, like in 2024, the agentic is not released to the market, but the big picture was announced that like they are going for the Act 2, which is the generative AI. And in 2025, the UiPath had released its agentic platform with Maestro, Studio Web, API workflows, MCP servers, and the governance around the AI trust layer and the screenplay. And in 2026, the plan is to go on the multi-agent collaboration is already in place in 2025, and now it is going on an enterprise scale. So now this is the right time for anyone to jump onto the agentic and start with it, because when the enterprise scaling is started or planned, then that's the time for us to immediately catch up with the agentic. And later, again, we need to spend a lot of time. Like in case if you consider the UiPath platform itself, the people who started in 2016 or 17, they actually started at the very lesser features, very limited features, and they could able to cover all the concepts what we have at that time. And as the platform evolves, everyone started adopting to the new capabilities, so it will be easy. Let us assume that like if someone is starting just now with the RPA, how much cap, product suite they need to keep on learning. So there will be a lot of backlog. To avoid the backlog, I think this is the right time for someone to start with the agentic automation journey. So the transition from the RPA to the agentic. So RPA is still matters. That's the question a lot of people are going to have, because everyone is talking on the agentic and we are just doing only the rule based automations. Is it going to still there, or will it be deprecated, or no one is going to use it? So there will be a lot of questions around it, I think, but still the RPA needs to be there. So if we are considering the RPA and the agentic, the 1 and 3, uh, the agent will be like a human brain, and whereas the RPA is going to be the human hands and the other tools which they will be using as part of their work. So alone brain cannot do anything. It can think and it can instruct, whereas the all the work needs to be done by the RPA. So still RPA will be there along with the agentic. So if you are stagnating with RPA, then you need to think of going further. What it will happen. But along with the RPA, if you are stepping onto the agentic and if you are having both the combinations, then there will not be any problem. Uh, so RPA will never die. At the same time, if you are sticking to the RPA, then it will be a risk. And there is one more in between the RPA and the agentic, which is augment. So your RPA is to perform the tasks, and the agent is to think, and the argument is to supply the information to agent. So the agents will run on the LLMs, large language models, and it is trained with a lot of general purpose data. But here, when you are trying to build your automations, you will be building on your own enterprise data or organization data, which the LLM or the agent will have zero information or zero knowledge to it. So that's where this argument comes into the picture, which is the RAG, retrieval augmented generation, or in UiPath, we call it as a context grounding. So this will give, it is pretty much similar to how generally we make a calls or the SQL calls to the database. So that in case if you are comparing this argument, which will be stored in terms of the vector databases, even that is also called as a vector databases. So in the SQL database, we have the structured data and we are dealing with a fixed data set. So you'll be calling directly with the fixed query that like with a specific value, I want to retrieve the information from this particular table. In case if you have an employee table, based on employee ID, we will be passing on and then we will be retrieving the data. In case if you have the input of the person's first name, employee first name, and retrieving of the data based on the employee's first name might not be 100% accurate because you may have multiple people with the same first name, right? Employee ID is unique. So in the SQL, we always try to call the data with specific unique key. In case if you are combining multiple also, there might be a possibility that, let us suppose you have an first name and the date of birth or some other features or something, right? So it's not much easy. And in case if you are dealing with the vector database and if you are trying to call employee table with some specific name, and you'll have some designations or something, but it might not be the part of the data table. And based on some comparisons, it will retrieve all the information and it will look for the most relevant. And also the RAG, we can define the strategies also, like whether you want to have a fixed search or the semantic search, or like we have multiple patterns. So that's how these three uh, pillars will collaborate each other as part of the agentic journey. So the bottom line is that like still RPA will be there, but we should not stick to the RPA. Let us meet what's there in the UiPath agentic platform. So the UiPath ecosystem is too vast. Like we have a lot of products in UiPath for different roles and different capabilities, and based on the different use cases, we will be having this UiPath agentic product suite. Whereas like for the agentic platform, we have the studio web, like where we can build all type of automations. Like it has different project types, like RPA workflows, agent project type, and the agentic flows, agentic process, apps. Everything is consolidated as part of the Studio Web, API workflows, and everything. So the Studio Web is a low-code platform for us to do the developments, whereas the agent builder is one of the project type. Agent is one of the project type in the Studio Web, and the agent builder will help us to build our agents with the low code. So instead of writing the code in Python or some other programming languages, we can simply use our low code platform in order to build our agents and the action apps. So the agents cannot or may not able to 100% accurately perform the tasks. Even the agents might be having some confusion or ambiguity what action needs to be performed in case if there is some data shortage with it. If it is having a lesser information with it, it may not able to take the decision. In such a scenarios, that will escalate it to the human. So the human in loop concept, like where the human can validate the result and approve or reject so that the agent can take its next steps. So that's where like we will be using UiPath action apps, you know, to to have human in loop concept. And the Maestro is an orchestrating platform, like where it's a BPMN notation, like where how we generally create our flow diagrams in the BPMN notation. That is a standard notation followed. And that will help us to orchestrate or coordinate between the agents, robots, and the people in a big picture of end to end business process automation. And the context grounding is nothing but the retrieval augmented generation is more on the knowledge data which it will be having, which serves as an information to the agents. Like whenever the agent requires some information, it will retrieve the information from this context through this context grounding, and it will help to the agent to decide what step needs to be taken. And in our curriculum or when in our future sessions, we are going to deep dive onto the context grounding. Like we have different strategies of retrieving the data from the data source, So we will be looking in detail of different strategies, what we have and what type of query it will be passing and what are the limitations we have and number of results it is returning and what is the settings we need to do in order to get better results. And then we have integration services, like which are the pre-built integration services to interact with an enterprise applications or the target applications, like where the activities inside of the integration services can be directly consumed by the agents as part of its tools. And the API workflows is one of the project types similar to how our RPA workflows works, but the API workflows is just to interact with the external applications through API. So why do we need to have this API workflows? As we already have the HTTP request as part of our RPA, but the API workflows are a bit lightweight and faster execution. It provides the seamless serverless execution and lightweight and in-browser debugging is available. So for that reason, API workflows performance will be much more higher compared to the RPA workflows. And the MCP servers is nothing but model context protocol, like where you want to interact with the different applications, not one or two, and you have a lot of number of tools like 10, 15, or 20 tools which the agent needs to be consumed. So the agent is capable of handling 15 or 20 tools, but when we are writing the code or when we are building our agent, it will be hard for us to give this all tool list to the agent in terms of the maintenance perspective, or if any changes comes, uh, removing or adding and everything, it will be a bit difficult. So the MCP servers provides a wrapper around all the set of tools which required by the agent. So it's a container of all the automations or the tools which the agent requires as part of its task. So in terms of the performance, direct tool calling will be faster compared to the MCP server, because the agent first needs to select the MCP server and then it needs to look for a specific tool, which action it needs to be performed inside of the MCP server. But this latency is negligible when you compare with the maintenance perspective of multiple tools. And the last one, but not the least and more highest priority for any enterprise implementations, the AI trust layer, where like you'll be having the proper governance in place and the audit is in place and the guardrails. So these three plays a very key or important role: the governance, like controllability of the data leak or the usage or the accesses to different type of LLM models, third party LLMs, or bringing your own LLMs, like because the data sharing is highest concern when it comes to the enterprise. And also, if in case if any sensitive information or personal information, it should not be sent out to the third party LLMs. So this will take care of filtering of any personal information before sending the data to the LLM. So let us suppose there is a name that uh, which Patrudu was as part of the message, and the name should not be sent because the name is personal identification information, right? For personal identity information. So what it will do is, while before sending, it will replace Patrudu name with a person name, and then it will send it to the LLM, and LLM will send the response back. And while it is returning back to you, it will replace this person name with Patrudu. So you will be passing your own personal information and you'll be getting the response in the personal information. But this PIA masking will replace the name or the exact personal information with the identity, type of identity. And then guardrails is the control around the agents to avoid any hallucination of the agent or doing any mistakes in the production. So this will be more on a controllability of the agents to do its task in the right way. And the majority of the things like which the people will be missing out in terms of when we are building the agents, and we will end up in production failures and end up in not moving, getting into approved to the production. So these are the couple of common mistakes. And also even post deployment also there will be some misconceptions generally we will have between the observability and governance. So we will not, if in case if you are not keeping any governance in place and you'll say that, hey, I can monitor the logs and I can say that what agent is doing. So that's not the right practice as part of the security concern, because you need to govern the data. So governance is like to avoid any leakage or controllability on your agent, whereas the observability is to find out what actually happened. And the agents failing in the production is mostly because even any application whatever you are building or the automation you are implementing, in case if you are not moving it to the production without proper testing, then that's going to fail, that's going to get an errors. In the similar way we need to take care of couple of things, like which is called as an evaluations, which is nothing but the testing of the agents. Like we need to test with the different data variations to the agents, and we have multiple evaluators available. Even an LLM can judge an LLM, so we have that concept as well. And also the guardrails is the highest, it will play a very vital role in terms of the controllability of the agent to avoid the hallucinations or making the mistakes in production, and also having the fallback logic. So the guardrails, I can say, in our automations, whenever we are proceeding to the next steps, we will sometimes we will be checking a condition. So let us take an example that you are working with an API, and then the API response status code we will be checking before we proceed or deserialize the response itself. So that check we are doing, right? In the similar way, we need to have the guardrails on the agent, that like what type of output it is giving, whether it is the right output or some type of conditions we need to keep, and then fallback logic. So when it comes to the RPA, like we will be using the try catch in order to handle all the exceptions. In the similar way, we need to have a fallback uh, defined as part of the prompt itself for the agents in order to have a fallback logic. So these are the couple of common mistakes generally we will be doing it, which makes the agent to fail in the production. And the choosing of the right tool. So you have a lot of tools as part of your tool box, and you should be knowing that like what needs to be taken and when. So in case if you have a deterministic sequential steps which will never change and runs on a fixed rules, then you need to go with an RPA, not with the agent. So agent is not required to have at every place, whereas like you have a fixed rules and proper input and everything, then robot is the best option to choose. And in case if any decision making or reasoning is required based on some data evidence, then the agent is going to be a help. So even the specialized AI models will work for the classification and the extraction. So we should not use the agent for the classification or anything. So we need to be very cautious when we are selecting these tools. It's not only the cost implications, even the performance implications and even the mistakes also can happen, because when it comes to the deterministic and the structured inputs, robot outperforms the agent much more better, both in the performance and the accuracy. So we have some demos I would like to show you. So this is one of the enterprise use case from an healthcare perspective. So how the insurance claims works is whenever someone takes the treatment, this is on the US healthcare I'm talking. So when someone takes any treatment in an hospital, so hospital will be called as a provider who provides the treatment, and the patient is going to be the patient. And in case if someone get treated from an hospital will submit the claim information to the insurer, whom we call as a payer. So the provider will be submitting this particular claim to the payer, who needs to pay the money on behalf of the patient. And then once the claim is received from the insurance to the insurance company needs to extract all the claim information and read through the discharge summary. And then based on these two, they need to validate whether the ICD and CPT codes are matching and in relation, and the descriptions are as per the standards. So this ICD and CPT codes, we will be having a large set of data. It will be in thousands, and we will be having it as part of the internal document, and then we need to compare against the claim and the ICD codes and the CPT codes. It's not possible to do with the RPA. The reason is that ICD codes and the CPT codes descriptions may not exactly match in the claim, because the right when the person is billing it from the hospital side, they may write in a different sentence. So we need to understand the intent and the summary of both the descriptions, and we need to match it. So that's where the robot cannot help us. And post that, they will need to check the policy terms and the limits. So some diseases or some treatments might not be covered as part of that policy, and maybe the policy amount is completely already consumed, and still again the patient might be submitting it again. He might not be having the limit available for him, or else there might be something that, like, they might have claimed the insurance just 3 months before, and they might not be eligible. So all these eligibility checks will be done here, and which will be a bit complex, and up to some extent for the limits perspective, RPA can help us. But when it comes to the policy terms, it is a bit hard, because the policy documents will be unstructured. And then the fraud detection, so based on the patterns of the claim submission from the provider and the patient, so the flag of the fraud detection needs to be happened. So they need to check, like, whether it's a legitimate claim or not, or just they are trying to claim it because they have the insurance associated with it. And then calculate payout. So the calculate payout is will be based on what CPT and ICD codes are supposed to be paid and which are not paid. So based on some non-surgical things which will not be covered as part of insurance, and all these details, or everything needs to be done, everything will be done here, and then final amount, that how much the insurer, the payer, will be paying back to the hospital, and the rest amount or the difference amount needs to be paid by the patient. So this is an end-to-end use case, like where we will be having as part of our insurance US healthcare. And so when entire process is manual and very limited places, or very lesser percent, the robot could able to help us. Like I can say a maximum of 10 to 20% the robot can help us in this automation. It's a bit very hard. So when we are doing it manual, it's going to be a bit slow. And in case if someone is on vacation or PTO, or in case if the volume suddenly spikes up or peak periods, then that's going to be a big headache. In case if we are having our agents or the robots, just we need to enable one more in order to do it. Like, highest priority is going to be the business continuity. And also this process, because every step is manual, so it is going to take more time as different teams work together. And this is the problem. And the problem with the ICD and CPT logic is they are not consistent across multiple claims, right? Because the combination between ICD CPT codes we need to check, because for the same claim line, different ICD and CPT codes may not match. So it's a bit difficult for someone to have the mapping available and validate whether the code is there or not, mapping is correct or not, and the description is correct or not. So that's going to be a very, very big, tedious task. So how this can be solved with the help of agentic automation? So here I have built an agentic end-to-end automation, like where I have leveraged one RPA task, which is like reading the data from email and downloading all the attachments, and reading the attachments like discharge summary and claim information, and passing that information to the agent. So we have four agents: validation of ICD and CPT, and validation of policy terms and limits, and fraud scoring agents, and also the claim payout agent. So these four are the agents like which we have built, and this actually comes as part of the decomposition framework, which we will be discussing as part of our further sessions, like why we are breaking all these four, as all the four are a sequential order of executions. Why can't we combine all the four, right? And also we have leveraged three indexes for the RAG pattern, like context grounding. One is for historical data, and the other is for the codes, and other is for the policy information. And then we have leveraged four RPA tools inside of these agents, like wherever is required, in terms of getting whether the ICD and CPT codes are included or excluded, or fetching the limits information from the claims application. So these are the couple of tools we have leveraged inside of each agent. And then in the fraud scoring agent, we have leveraged the escalation app, like in order to have, based on the threshold with what it is getting, the fraud score, it will be assigned to the human for the approval or the rejection. So let us have a live demo on this. So I'll be going back to the UiPath Mass Studio Web, where like we have built our end-to-end agentic workflow. So let me open this, and we will be covering this particular email, like where I have the discharge summary and the claim information. So let me run this in the debug mode. So we are passing on the connection to the Outlook and the uh, context grounding or the RAG what we have, and click on save and debug. So when it is running, it will deploy the resources, because there are some associated processes as well. So those will be deployed into the orchestrator, and then it will start execution. So when the agent is executing, we can see how it is, which block is getting executed here from the design. And also we can see the detailed traces and the values for the variables as well. And in case if you see here, if I go here, I can see the variables as well. So what actually it is returning back from this particular tool, and now it is executing validation of agent, and it will show us the trace of like what actually it is doing for each of the step, what input it is passing and what output it is doing. And now it is going to the validate claim against policy. So it is going to the next agent. So now this agent also execution, we can see in detail for the uh, from the traces, like each and every step. Or in case if you want to see at the agent level what input it is passing and what output it is getting, and the agent is completed. So it will give the output, and it is going to the fraud scoring agent. Now it is going to the fraud detection, like whether this is a fraudulent claim or the legitimate claim. So we will be getting it from here. So here also we can see what input it was passed and what output it is giving. And it is referring to the historical claim for particular hospital or the provider. So in detail, it is going for it. And in case if it is going to the human loop, we can see it here, or else like we can go to the action center. So it is completed and it is not flagging, and it is going to the payout estimation agent. So here also it will show that like what information it is passing, and it will make the calls to get the policy details based on the policy ID from the claims application, the internal application to retrieve what related to the which are excluded or which are included. So all these tools will be called, and then based on that, it will assess the final payment. So we will see that like how much final payment it is giving us. It's taking more time because the agent is running. So the traces are going to help us bit more in terms of the observability in case if something gets failed. So we can see that directly here, or else like in case if you are looking at this particular agent, and if you click on this, in case if something gets failed, we'll get as an um, error here. And in case if you click on this, you have the tab incidents. If you click on the incidents, whatever the errors or something happens as part of your end-to-end agent flow, we will be getting that as part of the incidents. So as of now, everything is working as expected. So there is nothing. And here it is calling all the tools. And now it will return the output that how much the payment can be made to this particular thing. So maybe because of some data, it just got invalid JSON, some slight error came in between. So that is reported as an incident. So this is how the execution of an end-to-end agentic flow will work. And this is one of the real-time use case, like is part of which is the part of our insurance companies. So in case if you want to know it detail, so you can go here on this, and if we scroll down, we'll click on this. We have the incident. If you go to the details, you can click on this open job and you'll be navigated to the orchestrator. In the orchestrator, you can view the logs of that particular job which has got failed. So, and also you can see it here, but it is giving very lesser information. So in case if you are coming to the orchestrator, we can see the exact error or the how we generally do it for the normal automations. In the similar way, we can have a look on this as well. So this is more on this particular use case. And we have one more use case, like which is a conversational agent, like which I want to show the demo, like where we can chat with the agent, and it is connected to the internal systems like through tools, and also the RAG, also everything is configured, and we can ask questions on any of these. So let me go here. I'll go to the agents. So in the agents screen, we have in the left panel, we have deployed agents. So when we click on the deployed agents, you can see all the agents which you have already deployed and what type of agent it is. Like this is the coded agents, and these are the low code agents. Autonomous agents are nothing but low code agents which we built from the agent builder. And then we have conversational agent, like which can help us to chat with it. So you can just need to click on the chat, and now we can chat with it. So I can say that, hi, what can you help do, what is your role, right? So to which you are connected and which you are intended to do. So it is saying that leave and time and compensation and expenses and all these things. Okay, your salary details. If you see here, it is saying self services. And if you click on the settings under the profile, you have your name. So unless if you are asking for yourself, it will not give. So can you please tell me some Kati salary? So the true salary details are Karthik. So yes, I'll say yes, though I'm not. It is not there. I'll say, can you help me with Karthik Kumar? So now it is working as expected. The person name is not there. It is not giving. And it is again saying that yes, this is not working as expected because we haven't kept any guardrails on it. So, okay, see this. As part of the constraints we have defined, and it is saying that you identified yourself as Pathadu Chantakaila based on your user profile, but now you are asking salary information for Karthik Kumar. If you are Pathadu Chantakaila, I can retrieve your salary information. If you are genuinely Karthik Kumar, there may be a profile mismatch. that needs to be resolved with the HR directly. So now it is following as per the enterprise policies or the guidelines or the guardrails what we are having. So this is how the conversational agent can be leveraged, and at the same time, this is how the guardrails can help us. So guardrails and the policy documents which we are submitting. So in case if I ask any other question, it will give me, hey, what is the expenses limit for domestic travel? So now it will be going to the policy, and then now it will return me like what is the policy we have for the travel. So for travel policy, we have for accommodation 5,000 and 1,500 for the meal and the transportation. And so it needs to be approved. So these are the criteria or the travel policies we have. So this is how the conversational agent can be built, and then that can be leveraged. So these are the two demos I have for today in terms of showing you the real-time use cases which are required or mostly more frequently used and uh, giving more advantage. So now what we are going to cover as part of our curriculum. So we are going to cover from the basics, complete basics of the agentic to the advanced concepts. Like we are going to cover the studio web basics and how the solutions works and how the studio web solutions will be deployed and how what are the different components we'll be having. Also we'll be covering agent development lifecycle, and we'll see how it differs from the RPA development lifecycle or the software development lifecycle. And we are going to cover building of the agents from the agent builder and context grounding, prompt engineering, different types of promptings and iterative prompting. And also will be covering like decomposition framework and multi-agent and agent handoff and the orchestrating the multiple agents, including the external agents and the uh, coded agents and the agents built as part of our low code agent platform and testing. So this is the highest uh, important topic, like because unless if it is properly tested, agents cannot be moved into the production because the agents are will have highest chance of hallucination. So unless we have a proper governance, guardrails, and the evaluations are done, testing is done, it's not safe to move them. And then we will be covering a couple of specialized agents out, like some out of the box agents like UI agent and the healing agents, how it works, and the conversational agents and the coded agents. So we are trying to cover everything. And so what you can expect from here is like complete end-to-end implementation of agentic automation, starting from the basic to the high level, advanced level, and also the governance around the agentic automation, and also getting ready for the UiPath Agentic Automation Professional Certification, which was about to release on 1st of April. So it was not yet released, it was about to release. So all the curriculum what we are showing you is prepared based on this particular exam curriculum. And who, for whom the course was? For everyone. It's not specific to the developers. Irrespective of the developer, I feel that like everyone should have some or the better, some or the other added knowledge on these concepts, irrespective, like for the developers, engineers, AI engineers, and architects, business analysts, or even the platform people, because the governance lies with them. And this is more on the exam concept, like we'll be having 120 minutes of duration and 70% is going to be the pass score. And we have 11 exam subtopics, which we covered every part, every point, or every topic as part of our curriculum. And the prerequisites, you need to have the knowledge on RPA for sure, because end of the story, if you're building the agent also, you need to supply the tool to it, and the tool is going to be your RPA. And at, at least you should be knowing some programming skills, like at least writing the expressions in the UiPath. If you know the UiPath, that should be good enough. And we doesn't require to have an enterprise license in order to continue with the agents. The community edition itself will be good enough, and you just need to spend your time. That's the prerequisite I have from you, in case if you want to start with the agentic automation. And what you are going to get from me is, it's an instructor-led course, and we'll be having a dedicated Q&A sessions, and also we'll be giving you the assignments, hands-on sessions you can do it, and also the certification preparation. And also you can reach out for all of your queries through our mentor support. Yep, that's pretty much about our demo, and hope you all liked it, and we'll try to see you in the course batch once the kickoff was initiated. Thanks everyone one more time.